I was hitting her a pat on the foot.
We are currently overrun. And only 39% of those in the shelters are from Keene. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of control. I don't know how that happened. Was everybody going to Haverhill for?
258,000.
Now, where's the? Did I give you budgets? Oh, shoot. What did I do with them?
Think we can match Haverhill next year?
I don't think so.
We could try.
They must have housing. That's what it must be.
They're so small. We've worked over there. I mean, they're bigger than we are, I guess, but. Evening.
Howdy.
Oh my gosh, it was a disaster.
It was good?
No. Yay.
I don't think she listened.
Huh? Oh.
I don't think you were listening.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it was like the exact opposite.
I said it was good, and I heard, yeah.
Jamie shows up, and all of a sudden all these wolf birds.
No, I just gave him
I just looked at my
He's
mailbox.
like, yeah, we have a game tonight. I'm like, you don't have to tell me we have a game tonight.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Like,
Call the meeting to order.
Are we good, or do you need a second?
Yeah, no, I don't need a sec. I'm just looking for the budgets that I don't know where I put. Keep
You
going.
gave them to us.
These?
Oh yeah.
We
Okay.
already put them on our desk.
Yay.
we're tired, so.
It
Page
being
numbers in the middle.
5:32 p.m. I call the select board's meeting to order. I make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A:32A at 5:33 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
I just yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. We are now in non-public at 5:33 p.m.
You can't just burn. It's got to be
So you need a
for.
training center.
It has to be for training.
Yeah.
So it has to be a building that you can actually walk in and do interior. And the last time we did it, it was Joe Benson was up here a lot of years ago.
Well, is it something you'd want to do if it wasn't hard to get through this hoops?
It was easy.
I'm just saying,
What do you want to burn?
I might want to burn some buildings. I'm not going to speak on camera right now. But I know, I'm not. We're waiting.
It's 5:59.
Keats is printing. Yeah.
We're in a pre-meeting conversation.
We're pretty
Right. Yeah. It's not easy. So it's hard.
Well, I'll talk to you and let you know. It's like a lot of wood, steel roof, hardly any interior walls, bare sheetrock, no lead, no asbestos.
You certify that to the people who matter.
Oh, signed.
It doesn't really matter much to us.
Yeah.
It's probably orange.
Teddy just did one.
There's an orange.
Right,
on the
burn
other side.
swans.
Do you want me to check this?
Yeah. Burn
What?
swans and sandwich.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Here,
We participated in that. The people who bought that funded.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to fund anything. But if you wanted to.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we ready or not? Not yet.
Almost. Hang on one sec.
You check them out.
That's
Hi, Glenn.
Okay.
How are you? I'm doing well. How's your back though?
Coming along.
Okay.
I saw Bob today. Maybe this weekend is not the first of the week.
Yeah.
Okey-doke. We're good.
We're good?
I make a motion to come out of non-public at 6:01 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. We are now out of non-public at 6:01 p.m.
Changes and additions.
Changes and additions to the agenda.
There is one addition, although it's not in that spot, is a request for a letter of support from the Green Mountain Conservation Group is added to new business.
Moving on to new business. Department head update with the fire department, Chief Colkard.
I didn't bring any stats or anything, I thought it was the budget.
Oh, okay.
Everything's wonderful.
Tell us anything you want.
You already know, we got the SCBA grant, working on that.
That was great.
Hopefully, in a month or so, we'll have that all squared away, what vendor we're gonna use.
Yep.
Um,
That was great news.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, our air compressor, that's part of that grant too, for 70,000 something, that's still out of service. So we really wanna jump on it and get that replaced. Everything's going good. Got one girl in an EMT class finishing up, got 2 guys in firefighter 2. I think this is the last month, they only have like 1 more class before they test out.
Good.
Yeah, things are going good. We had 2 members apply for medical and fire, and a guy applied for medical. He's got his EMT license, and he's already gone through the fingerprints, all that good stuff. So things are going good.
Any questions for Chief Coulter?
Yeah, quick one. So, do you are you always looking for volunteers? Or are you pretty saturated? How does that work?
We're pretty much always looking. It's hard to get a good response during the day. A lot of people work out of town. The gentleman who has his EMT license, and today I just got the notification he got his New Hampshire provider's license, is going to college at UNH, but he lives out in Wanalancet, so he's hardly around.
Yeah.
So we look at everybody.
Okay.
If they'd be a good fit, we push them through.
Okay.
Any other questions? No. Thanks for the update. Moving on to budgeting. So we're going to start with the process discussion, timeline.
And you know what we could
review.
do is move the process and timeline to the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that,
we'll do that at the end then. So we'll move on to the fire rescue and fire other with Chief Coulter, and try to flip through them.
And just see what sheet you get, make sure.
Page 9.
Yep.
Page 9. 4,
Get in the right
5,
department
6, 7,
here.
8, 9.
Yes,
Fire
fine.
rescue.
So we should be good.
And then the truck is at the end in the CIP.
And I looked and I didn't see it.
It's at the very. It's at the end. I just looked at it. It is on the last page, 15, line. Oh no, sorry.
No.
No. It is on page 14.
Well, vehicles, fire truck, there's nothing there.
Yeah, 375.
My copy.
Capital reserve appropriation, it's line,
I'm looking at capital improvements.
it's line.
Oh, there it is.
702.
Got it.
Okay.
So do you want to kind of go down through and we'll ask questions about the ones that
Yep.
we want to or increased?
First line item, 121, is an increase of $4,000, 4,033. That's 4-point-something%, whatever inflation was at that time. Skipping the next one, that line item should go away. I'll work with Elaine on that. 141, the part-time from 93,000. I added 7,000 to bring it to 100,000. We're in good shape right now, but this was such a rainy summer, we did not have any forest fires. So it'd only take 1 or 2 good forest fires, not just us, but the other towns, to eat that money up. And legally, once we start paying hourly, we have to pay it whether we have the money or not. So the 100,000 from 93 would make me feel better, have some leeway in there. And we really try, it is a bottom line budget, but we try to use that line item specifically, all the line items, what they are for. So we always turn in money at the end of the year.
Okay.
The Health buyout stipend be the same, health insurance I don't take. FICA, Medicare, retirement, and workers' comp. I don't know what those numbers will be, actually, if the salary increases by $4,000, then those numbers will change.
Those are all a percent, yeah, of,
Yes, so those numbers will come from your
yeah,
office.
and, yeah.
Yep. Education training kept it the same. Down to 300, grant writer is the same. Telephone is
That's
at
it.
5.
That's another phone bill that went way up.
Well,
I think Richards did too.
Yeah, I remember that.
because we have 4,500, to date we spent 4,085, and we have 414 left for the next 2 months. The new ambulance has a hot spot in it. That's gonna be an added expense to that account. And like everything else, who knows what internet and spectrum, if all that goes up. So I increased that $500 because we're pretty tight right now. Medical, electricity is the same. Heat and fuel is the same. Water and sewer, I added $250. Right now,
Do you think is that supposed to increase for?
who knows?
Yeah.
It seems like every 2 years they do. To date, we spent $827.22, and we have $172.78 left. We've got our last quarter statement, so we shouldn't have an issue. But every couple of years, I do have the septic tank pumped or whatever. So, yep, 250 more in that. Heat and fuel kept the same. We're in good shape. Oh, I already did that. Sorry. Equipment maintenance went from 5,500 to 7,500.
Is there anything you see coming up that's going to be a kind of a hefty?
I added 2,000 to that because right now we're 3,622.43 in the red in that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You don't have those notes.
No.
Like everything. 2 examples. We have 1 battery for our X series, our 12 lead monitor, and you really need 2. And we have a conditioner, more expensive charger. The battery that we're using now, the conditioner says it's junk. It's working. I've ordered those batteries quite a while ago, but they were, I want to say $600 something each. And we have an auto pulse, a machine that does CPR. We used it maybe a month ago, and we made it from here down to 28, and the battery died, and ends up the other battery isn't good. 2 batteries, they're a lot smaller than that paper. There was $2,021 for 2 batteries.
But that's not a battery you want to have die.
Well,
It makes more work for the providers.
right.
Yeah.
It's a long ways from Tamworth Hospital when you're doing CPR in the back of the ambulance. So the thing's really nice.
So I bumped that up.
Okay.
Vehicle repair and maintenance,
Oh, that was maybe the one.
I
That was quick.
bumped,
Oh, no, quick.
that's 431, vehicle repair and
Yep, I
maintenance.
see it.
Bumped that up to 30,000, added 3,000 to it. We got approximately 10,000 left, and coming right up sometime, I don't remember when, all the pumps have to be flow tested, and they always find issues with them. We've got all the inspections done, and actually made out pretty good, but like the cost of tires, everything has gone up. 432, radio pager and repairs kept the same. 560, dues, added 2,000 to that. OVMA dues, Ospey Valley Mutual Aid Association, went from 6,000 to 8,000. Postage the same, vehicle fuel, just added 500, we're doing fine. But again, we didn't have a busy brush fire season. And nothing else has increased.
Richard, quick question. On the radio pagers, is that gonna be another, is North Conway gonna try and write the grant again?
We are going regional grant with Sandwich
Oh,
this time.
so that would be a warrant.
It'll be a warrant article.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And forest fire, I've actually dropped it to 5,000.
What, in a normal summer, what is your forest and brush fire activity?
Probably the worst year we've had lately was, I believe it was 2017, Bale Mountain. And if I remember correctly, I spent 10 days there. We weren't, I was getting paid anyways, but we weren't doing,
Yeah.
we were just doing points at that time.
Yeah.
We had absolutely everybody at the height. There was over 200 firefighters. There's like 100 support, 3 helicopters. It was a big fire. We easily could eat that money up. I'd rather have it there than not. Or if it's real dry and we have a lot of lightning in the spring, it might not be a big event, but pain in the butt where you gotta go back and check it and dig stuff over, and you could eat up some
Takes the hours.
man-hours there.
We stopped at about 6 inches from the Tamworth line, so Tamworth didn't get the bill for that.
That's true.
The OSP commissioners kept telling me that it crossed the line. I said, no, it was just there.
Dig deep. Yeah.
Did they hike up and take a look?
Okay.
Any questions?
So, what do you have in CIP?
It's line 702, I think.
Is it page 14? Is that what it said?
Yeah. The breathing apparatus, that's 23, okay.
Right.
Well, yeah, cross out that very high percentage number. So I guess one of the, there's sort of two moving pieces here. One is this year's budget, but then also the CIP has what, 375 for a fire truck?
Yeah.
For 24.
For 24. Yep.
Trying to find it here.
No, do you have one you're replacing? How old is
It's
the,
online.
how old is the one you're looking to replace?
It'll be 31 years.
3, so it's
Yeah, 375.
It's 94.
94.
What's in that account now?
Have to look in the annual
Um,
report, but
That would be a helpful thing to have on these
Yeah, I can go get it.
pages.
Oh, I have it right here. It's
What's the truck cost? Are you trying to buy it in 2024?
well, sign a contract in 24 after town meeting, provided the warrant article that adds this last 375 to the capital reserve fund. That'll bring the capital reserve fund somewhere around 650. We think it'll be less than that, but that's, you can't get those things exact.
Yep.
So sign the contract in 24 after town meeting. The delivery time now is like 505 or 550 days.
So you raise, so how much money is the total cost of the truck roughly?
Well, we're allowing 650.
650. So
Yeah.
then will some money be raised in 25?
No, there's already.
Or-
This is the last amount.
This is the last one. There was some raised last year.
Yeah.
Wait, so in 2022 there's 275, right? This year, 2023 there's 275,
Yeah.
And then next year would be
And
and next year is 375.
Right. That's
So that makes the
650.
650.
Yep.
But do you have to? Can you pay some of that in 2025? When it's delivered?
Some of it will be paid in, yes, when it's delivered. We don't pay the whole thing up front.
How does payment work?
You have to have the money to sign the contract, because
Yeah.
nobody's gonna sign a contract with us if we don't. But we don't actually spend it all. What we have done in the past, and it all depends on the deal they give us, is sometimes we can save some money if we pay for the chassis up front, or when it comes. So we'll pay, say if that were to happen in '24, we pay part of it in '24, and the balance gets paid when it's done, which would be '25.
Is that a possibility?
Well, that's the way it would happen, yeah.
But
But you still have to have
But
the money
we still have to
encumbered
raise the money
for
in
the,
'24
to
so
sign
that
the
it's,
contract.
so we can sign the
So
contract.
that's just the way it works? You cannot sign a contract unless all the money's raised?
Right,
in case the town didn't support it in the next year.
right. They're not gonna start building something
Yeah.
the town doesn't have the money. And as an elected official, I don't wanna sign the contract if we don't get the money, because, oh, I stick my neck out.
I believe there was a warrant article that you all used in the past, or RSA, that allows you to sign the contract and have the money raised over 2 years. But the second year, it's automatically,
Kind of almost like the transfer
Like
station.
what we
Raised.
did with the
Yeah.
transfer station, which,
You probably need a higher vote then, you probably need.
Yeah, there is, right, there
Well,
is a
might be
type
worth-
of, we've never done that with the fire truck, but yeah, there is a type of warrant article that it's just kind of automatic
Yeah,
the second.
I like the
the
way
second-
they're proposing better
second,
than
yeah.
having it kind of questionable there, but
But
that
that's a
option I think is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, since some of the money is already in a capital reserve, I know
there'll be
this,
275
the
by years
RSA, it'd have to
end.
be like a separate article, because I know
Uh-huh.
the RA gets pretty sensitive about changing anything
That's already
when
been.
you, that's already been
Appropriate, yeah.
agreed, right? So,
Yeah.
so it might have to be like a separate one, but it's still doable.
So you'd have a separate fund for the 275 that's already
That's already in there.
Yeah.
And then you would write a warrant article that would raise the 375 over a 2-year period. And put it in as another
Yeah,
capital reserve or
whatever
something.
that- Right, whatever that wording. Yeah, I remember, we've done that, we did that with the transfer station last time.
Right. Well,
that
let's look,
needed a 2/3 vote.
because it was a
When you-
multi-year.
Yeah, when you commit to future appropriation, it requires a 2/3
Oh,
vote.
okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's
certainly if we
compelling.
can find a way to spread this 375
Yeah.
over 2 years, is certainly to everyone's advantage.
Well, I mean, that's, in my mind, that's what the CIP does.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're counting on, in their plan, they're counting on us raising it all this year, or in '24. So if we push some of it to '25, now that screws up their plan for something else.
Except their plan is only based on what people tell them to put in the plan. You know what I mean?
Right, but
Like, they
they've,
don't- they
but
don't
they've
think about-
adjusted everything.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to undermine their efforts, because they've already spent time trying to balance this all out.
Yeah, we should glance
It's all
at
of a sudden
24, because
we would-
maybe 24 is already out.
Right, if
Yeah.
we reduce
Yeah.
24, now we're increasing 25, and
Yeah.
maybe
There's
their
actually
25
a
is
little
already.
more room in 25, interesting.
Yeah, right
It's
now.
worth looking
I
at.
don't-
But we can look at the CIP report and see how it
Yeah.
balances.
Well, let's keep that, let's make a note about that, because we're gonna talk about doing a budget work session, and that would be a good place to have that conversation. And before we have that work session, we can do the research to see how a multi-year warrant would play out and what the caveats would be. Okay.
Anything else with the fire department budget? I think you explained all the increases pretty clearly. Everything kind of made sense. And
Tried to keep it reasonable. Did we have a question about capital reserve and the rescue vehicle? That should be all set. We don't have to encumber.
Because it's in capital reserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have no money outside of the capital reserve that you're spending for that vehicle.
Correct.
Are you thinking about encumbering anything else?
think so. If, once we get this grant thing done,
The SCBA
the
grant.
SCBA grant thing done,
Um,
I don't see why we shouldn't be able to.
I don't
So
see
what
why.
is the deal with the, so when do you get the grant money for that? Or how does that work? Is it a reimbursable or?
Yes.
Okay, so you buy the equipment and then they reimburse?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
and will that happen before the end of the
AFG
year?
one for the truck, their portion they pay. We just
Oh, they
pay our
paid.
portion. They pay Alexis.
I'll let you know. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last AFG one, when we got the truck, was it
Yeah.
2 years ago?
They paid.
AFG
vendor.
paid their portion to the vendor.
The
We never-
the grantor is paid the
Yeah,
vendor directly?
directly. They didn't go through us.
Okay.
Now we have a match that we have to
Mhm.
pay,
So,
and our match is in. So that match would need to be encumbered if we don't get this contract signed and paid.
okay, so
By
let's
December.
talk offline about that whole process.
Yeah. We want to make sure we do it right. I don't know if we'd have to encumber the whole number or just our match.
Well, if
I think just our match if we're not.
they're gonna pay directly, then it's probably just our match.
Right. But I'd like to think we could get
We should.
decided the vendor get the
Let's go
contract
through it.
done and
It's November,
paid because
almost.
we've got a lot of all our SCBA bottles are overdue.
Yeah.
Fargo, like we fill them because they're ours. Nobody else will fill them because they're out of date. But we didn't want to put a bunch of money into new bottles because we were hoping to get this grant, and we did.
At least
Yeah.
you didn't.
So we're like stretching a little bit here.
At least you didn't say that on camera or
Probably shouldn't say
anything.
it on camera.
Well, thank you.
So we'll discuss it next week, maybe early next week, how
Yeah,
about,
we'll see how we're doing.
so timeline is?
Yeah, we'll double check whether the AFG pays, reimburses us or pays. for it.
Yeah.
The last one with the truck, they paid direct.
So who manages the grant on your side, Zach?
It's a combination of Zach and Chief and I.
Okay,
You know, as the chairman of the Board of Fire Wards, I sign the dotted lines basically. Zach does a bunch of the legwork for us. Chief reads all the stuff and makes sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's too. So it's sort of a three-person operation.
okay.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you for having
Have a
us.
good night. See you next, maybe at Veterans Day. You're invited.
Yes. Do you want me to give you a call, or is that a
Sure.
go?
Give me a call.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cemeteries.
Page 8.
Cemeteries with John Wheeler. Page 8, you said?
Yep.
I don't know if I got my request in time for it to be on your
I believe
paper or
so.
not. But I am requesting the same as last year.
Yeah, look at that 0%
I like
change.
zeros.
It's not much to explain here.
Lovely.
Will you be encumbering anything, or you think you're gonna spend it all?
Should,
Or let it go to the?
or let some return, right?
Yeah, okay.
Trying to get some work done at the Chicago Cemetery of clearing around the edges of the Coville sections. That should be done this fall, hopefully.
So do you think you'll actually spend a little bit less money than last year, or are you going to spend most of the budget on doing that clearing?
It may be less
See what it
at
is.
the weather and whether a contractor can
Get there.
get things done.
Yep. Okay. Is there anything? Do we have any questions? It looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Cemeteries, what's your role on the Veterans Memorial? Do you do anything with that? Or is that just a town
The only thing we do
Maintenance.
is the mowing of it, and we put the flags up Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we pay for the light
Hmm.
on the pole and for electricity for the Christmas lights.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Alright, that was
Nice
pretty
and straightforward.
I don't
Yep.
think- I
They
don't
were
have any
all that
questions.
simple, John.
Yeah.
I wish our whole budget looked like that.
Well, let's get into general assistance.
Moving on to general assistance with Kathy Graham,
Page 11.
page 11.
Hi, Kath.
Start off with the
Hello.
budget.
So I'm not proposing a 0%.
Well, as long as you're not proposing what Haverhill's proposing,
Yeah, that was shocking.
that would be great.
So the total, it's on page 11, but the total's right on the next page, on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
page 12.
So basically, as we know, we increased the budget from 25,000 that was appropriated in '23, added 10,000 from the ambulance line, so it went up to 35. So that's my proposal is 35 plus a separate line item for an increased stipend for the new welfare administrator. And that's basically $450 a month stipend.
How many hours are you doing? I know you're doing 1,000 hours at times.
Well, when I wrote up the job description, I'm calling it 5 to 10.
Hours a week.
Correct. It varies, it's
Sometimes very little,
sometimes very little,
double.
sometimes it's double, exactly. So it's, I think 5 to 10 is a good average.
You know what I don't see in this budget is any kind of training. Oh, it does say training in this, but there's not money for training. And it seems like from conversations we've been having over the past year, that the town's legal responsibilities, mandated responsibilities, are getting more and more complex, and understanding how the systems work or don't work and what to do when they don't work is becoming more and more complex. Do you know if there are training experiences available that, I mean, you come to us having dozens of years as a town administrator, so you understand how things flow in and out of systems, but if we're not going to have somebody coming to us with that experience necessarily.
So I plan on doing the training as a transition piece, but there also is training available at the state welfare level. There's a great board in place and they offer training all the time.
Okay.
I also have great connections with some welfare directors who have been in the business for a long time, and they're happy to share their knowledge. And in fact, I am in touch with them all the time as far as resources.
Okay, so we don't necessarily have to budget for that because the network takes care of itself.
Yes.
Okay, great.
One of the tasks, in addition to reviewing the budget, was to approve and review the welfare job description.
Yeah, I want to stick with the budget a second. Can you just share, I mean, this is a great time to share for the record.
Sure.
What kinds of things, because I think that it's not known to everybody that towns are required to have to provide assistance. And I think that people don't have a clear idea what that assistance goes to and why it would cost us $35,000. So, we've had private meetings over, non-public meetings this year and are privy to some of those details, but if you could be general about what some of the big expenses are so people understand why this budget has to increase.
Sure. I think the biggest expense has been for the homeless. So we've spent the majority of that 25 housing people in hotels in the wintertime. On April 1st, the federal funding for rental assistance and homelessness dried up. And so suddenly, as of April 1st, all the municipalities were getting flooded with requests for housing. That funding will not exist in the next year. So there was in part of the state budget, but it is not going to municipalities at all, so we are on our own. I don't, sometimes I feel like I'm tracking on the homelessness in Tamworth, and then a week comes along and I get hit with someone brand new. So I think we should keep the budget healthy for that reason. Otherwise, it's fuel, electrical assistance, as much as CAP provides assistance. Sometimes they don't always do it in a timely manner, or it runs out, and then they're still struggling in the summertime. Car repairs, there have been some local grants that people have taken advantage of, but they require insurance, and not everyone has vehicle insurance. That's one of the things that they just don't carry because it's too costly. But that's the majority.
And so just to be clear, if we run over our welfare budget, we don't have a choice about providing this housing for people. This is a state mandated thing. It's not some like bleeding heart choice.
Correct.
And if we run over the budget, we don't get to stop just because it's the one budget item that we're allowed to run over, right?
Yes.
So if we have to spend $50,000, we have to spend it, even if it's not budgeted.
Correct. And I just think it makes you more comfortable, it makes the welfare administrator more comfortable to go in with a healthy enough budget so you're not concerned. And I think, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to that. These are people that are utilizing the system and know the system and know how to obtain these services. There's many that are not utilizing those services, and if connected, then they would be adding to that. But there's many that quantify as homeless because they don't technically have a residence. They float from one couch to another, friends or whatever, through the winter. That's how they get by. In the summer, we do find various encampments, tent encampments. That is an increasing issue. The was it Waypoint?
Yes.
Services provides tents.
Way station. Yeah.
Way station.
Yep.
Excuse me. Thank you. Way station out of Conway provides tents, and unfortunately they end up on either private property or state property or something like that. But and they're moved along because they don't have permission to be there, and they don't necessarily seek services of the welfare office. So just to add to that, there is a bigger number that's just not even utilizing the services.
Right. Yeah. And then social agencies contact me. If they do go to them, so Northern Human Services, Starting Point, then I get those phone calls, and then they learn about the fact that the town can provide this assistance.
Okay.
So the vast majority of the assistance provided is for housing.
Correct.
To either keep people in housing, which Kath has had success in keeping several people in their home, or hotels or even campsites.
I don't think when it comes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like with the hotels, I mean, we're at the mercy of whatever they want to charge for a rate.
There are a few hotels in the wintertime that will allow the homeless to stay there at a reduced rate, so maybe 90 a night and
For
not.
75 there was one.
There was one at 75.
But then at Memorial Day weekend it's 300.
They go right up, yeah. So.
Like, we're out.
But I mean 90 a night.
Yeah, it adds
That's
up
a lot for a
so
month,
fast.
Yeah. I just wanted to be clear so
No,
that
I
there's
appreciate that.
no question that we have to have this money. Thank you. You have, I mean, this is not a job that people see a lot of. It's not like the roads that you know when they're well taken care of, or at the transfer station. It's not a job we see. So you've helped a lot of people, and it has not been easy, so thank you.
Any other questions for the budget? So welfare administrator job review.
So just to be clear to the public, not a performance review, but a review of the job
The
description.
job
Yes.
Job
description.
description, yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't say they're in public
And we
and
can
do a
go back
performance
to
review.
printing these out. You guys had
No, we
opted-
can, I mean, I can look at it on my, oh wait.
I read it earlier today, it looks fine.
Yeah, I pulled this from a few different towns' job descriptions.
It's the yeah, it's the first one of the.
And the compensation is something that will not be part of the official description, it's just for purposes of the job, for applications.
So should,
I think you would
Should we
make a
put this
motion to approve the description as presented, or unless you
Yep.
want changes.
So we're keeping that monthly compensation, you're saying we're taking that out?
That is really for the purposes of advertising for the position, but typically you don't list compensation because it will change no matter year to year, so.
I make motion to approve the job description, excluding the compensation portion
For the welfare administrator.
for the welfare administrator position.
Second.
Any discussion, questions?
What would be the method of posting? Would it go in the...
Same as a regular job, paper.
Website, exchange, newspaper. And we have a few people in mind that we would probably email it directly to.
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, there are some towns, local towns, they're part-time positions, they could, pig pile on and
Sandwich,
have
for
this
example.
town. Nice try. And do this one as well. I know Conway even considered it, but, or even better, someone who has counseling or social work background would be really great. Do you want me to be part of the interview process?
Yes, please.
I was just gonna ask that.
No, happy to.
No, I think absolutely.
Okay.
Because I don't think it does any good to bring someone into a position if they don't have a clear understanding of what it's about.
Right.
And we definitely don't want somebody coming in thinking that their job is to save the town money at the expense of caring for people as mandated.
Right.
So,
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no.
Thanks, Kath.
Thank you very much for coming in tonight. Moving on to the transfer station with Glenn Johnson.
Couldn't find it. It's in there somewhere.
It's gotta be in here.
Guess you're not getting any money this year.
Did
Can't-
what?
Find it.
Can't find it.
Oh, that's okay. Just double what I had.
Transfer station, page 10 and 11. I mean, the heading's on page 10, but it starts at page 11.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's why it's hard to find.
That's why, yeah.
Oh. Okay, here we go. Transfer station. So we'll just go down through them and maybe for the ones that increased.
Well, I'd make that a little easier for you.
Yeah.
If we go down to monitoring and testing, forget the other ones, that's all done through the office, so that'd be okay.
Monitoring and testing. Flexible. What's the flexible?
That's no longer with us, I've been told.
Flexible, no, it is.
Oh, that's
so for
still
peop-
without my budget?
No, because you take health insurance, it's only there,
I thought you were telling me it was for the
flexible
per
spending account.
diem.
It doesn't
employees, which I
qualify
don't
for
have
your
anymore.
insurance. Yeah, it doesn't work with your insurance
Okay.
plan.
Okay.
And you're the only one who has the plan in that department.
Okay.
I feel important now.
Health insurance, FICA, Medicare, retirement, workers' comp.
Does that 19% increase just reflect what the whole policy for the town is going up?
For which?
Insurance, line 210.
It should be 15.6%. Let me check that.
Linda Eldridge is in the waiting room.
Oh, thank you.
And then,
Permits and licensing, that's up 1%.
Yeah, well, we aren't doing anything with other permits and stuff now. And, the only permits we have are the transfer station permits. And we think we'll have enough to go through this next year. Because we need to, redo them in '24. At the end of '24, so then we'll need more in that budget. But, if we need to pick any smaller one, a small amount up, I think we have enough.
Okay. Telephone's up 41%.
why is phone going up so much?
That, I don't know, I was talking with Keats, and she was telling me that they were talking a large increase. So, I just based it on what we had used so far this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the large increase will be.
Well, you're not the only one. Every department,
Yeah,
the
a lot of
phone's
them are
up all.
So I left that up to Keats to adjust when she
Yeah.
gets the information that she has.
Okay.
So, Hollings, are we
The
still?
hauling service, that's the one I would want to discuss with you. I talked with Pete, the representative, before I did the budgeting, and he was estimating a 5% increase. And I was talking with him just the other day, and I asked him if they had got anything figured out closer. They're talking a 7% now.
Increase.
Increase on the hauling and tipping fees. So that would be, it could be as much as 9.
So, but right now it says minus.
Yeah, because that's what I'm below on last year's budget or whatever.
So did you take the last, did you do,
I haven't done anything with it since we did it there. I didn't
well,
have
how did you calculate the 181?
a what?
The hauling cost.
Yeah, that was the hauling cost for everything that we did. But waste management is the one that has gone up the most because waste is not the only one that charges a hauling service. Each one that takes something out of there charges for trucking.
Yeah, the tires, etc.,
All of it.
electronic.
The
So that
cheapest one is around $75 a pull, and the other ones are 100, and one of them's 125.
So an electric is down 20%.
Over what we had for last year, I think it was.
So I want to stick with the hauling and tipping for a second. So if you've got budgeted right for this year, 188,740
Well,
for hauling and tipping, the hauling, and you've got 76.
I was thinking of asking to go up another, bring it up to 190 instead of 180. 181.35, I was asking to bring it up to 190.
So if it's
That's just a little bit more, which isn't,
but you don't think it. So if you said that they were quoting you 7 to 9%, so if it were 8%, it would be another 15 grand,
well,
which would bring you up to 203.
But he has a
I already
large remaining
used-
balance.
I mean, you should look
You
at
think-
I already
actuals
used
rather
a
than budget.
6%.
Okay, but you think that in the second part of the year he's not going to spend that?
Well, that's 9 months of actuals, so his run rate per month is
Okay.
12,500. I don't know if it's low. Does it go up at the last 3 months of the year?
No,
So
we've been through the busiest section. For waste management, it does average around 12,000 or so, around there, 12 or 13,000 a year, a month. But like I say, we have the other ones for our tires, for our electronics, for our refrigeration. Those aren't the only ones, that's why. All of that is under hauling service.
So, does the 112 that's actuals through September have all that other stuff in it? All the
Which one? The
Yeah.
112?
Your actuals from
Yes.
hauling.
Yes.
Okay.
And what you gave me for hauling service quotes,
So it'd be more
Yeah.
like 150 if you assumed.
Right. So then the 190
So-
is, or the 180, the 190 is fine, because that still represents the increase.
190 would be.
Times 1.09, let's say it's a 9% increase, you'd be at 163. So right, so 180 should be more than enough, assuming, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just based on actuals. I mean, we can look at when October numbers come in, we can see if it.
This budget is for the full year of 24.
Mm-hmm.
We are up for a contract in 24. So we're gonna have to start searching for a contract. And in November of 24, when our contract is up, we have to have someone or stay with Waste Management with whatever they do for a price then under a new contract will be entirely different.
Have we, I remember last time when we were talking about the contract, that Waste Management made us an offer and they said if we got other prices that they would rescind their...
Well, it's one of those deals that if they were gonna have to bid, they'd have to redo it.
Yeah,
Because they were giving us a lot lower price than anyone else would give us.
we think.
How many years?
That's a hard
Is
one
there
to-
competition out
How
there?
many years is the contract?
Not really.
I believe 3
You got Best Way, North Conway Incinerator, Casella,
Okay, so this
and
Is it a 3-year contract or?
Waste Management wants 5. So I don't want to do 5. I think it's ridiculous to do 5 because they can go up whatever percentage they want every year. And like last year, they went up 10% for this year. That's a lot of money.
Another wrong business.
Okay, and I didn't figure 10% in for this year's budget. So I think a 3-year contract is a good one and it's fair enough. But the thing of it is too, if we go with someone like Casella or North Conway, they're hauling it further. And they're all gonna be basically about the same. North Conway's a little more expensive than the others, Waste Management or Casella. Best Way, I don't know, I never got a price from them, they never got back to me. And I think they're out of Laconia, if I remember right. So, Casella can give us the better, Waste Management can give us the better tipping and hauling prices because it's all in-house. And they can figure their bid a little closer because they know the exact tons and everything else, and the rest of them are working off averages. So it's hard to beat Casella with Waste Management.
So the contract, the next 3 or 5-year contract, we would sign next year for starting in 2025?
It would start November 1st.
Ah,
Because every November, my prices change.
just to make life more complicated.
That's why we just got the 10%.
Okay.
And then in the capital, there's 40,000 for a compactor in the CIP. I think.
But we're pretty well established we have to have that, right? Isn't that?
An argument's been made that it would be better to wait to buy it till after there was clarity on the transfer station direction.
And we're not gonna have clarity before town meeting?
We will. Yep. I think the deadline that the Transfer Station Improvement Committee has put on ourselves is to be able to make a recommendation to the Select Board before the warrant articles are submitted, so by the end of January.
Okay.
So how old is the compactor?
23 years this month.
It's the only one you've ever had there.
No, I got another one. The other one over at the back for the steel cans.
Okay.
But that one, I couldn't tell you how old it is. It's a dinosaur. I bought that off of Waste Management for $1,800 20 years ago.
Well, that's a good deal. That still works.
Can't get parts for it. We're lucky it hasn't broke down.
Okay. So for now, we're just gonna leave it, because then we'll decide once we get the recommendation from TSIC for the compactor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think so. If, How difficult would it be to, if you had it in place for 6 months and then had to pull it out, and if we built a new building and put it back in, is that?
Well, you'd have to do new, you have to run all new wiring and
Yeah.
whatever. To have all the hookups put in.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that's not a 230, that's a 408 service, so we have to have all the lines put in and move the container to wherever it is. It would probably take a week or so, unless you organize the building and you're gonna put it in the new building and had the building all wired in the way you would set it. And then it would be just unhooking it, bringing it out, carry it, and set it down. Wire it up and fire it up.
Do you think it'll last another year? Who knows?
Hasn't let me down yet. I talked to it nice.
I'll get the lid.
Okay.
And the only other one that I was going to ask about changing would be the equipment maintenance lease, because we're going to need tires for the tractor. I spoke with Bob on the tractor today, and it may be back this weekend. It may not. If not, I'll just call and have the tractor from the town come down. And I'll let Richard know that tomorrow, if I hear from Bobby. And so I haven't figured really figured the tires in on the equipment maintenance lease, but I just had some service done. They're on the compactor, preventive maintenance service, and that was a little over $2,100 for the bill on that, to come in and do the PM on it. And I've already discussed that, so I was wondering about bringing the equipment maintenance lease up to an even 10 on it from the, oh gosh, now where is it? 99, 94, I wanted to add a $6.
And
Seriously, that's all you want to add to that?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to add 10,000 if you give me the leftover. Okay.
What's the deal with the backhoe?
yeah, do you think that the backhoe is something that we should consider maybe slightly upgrading in the future?
In the future, it'd be nice to have a more modern one of everything. But for what I do up there, pushing snow, piling up snow, using the backhoe to crush down the containers, move the containers out and put another one in, that old beast does well. But it is old. I think it's around a 94.
Okay.
And it's got around 7,000 hours on it. So
It's bad, it's not even 30 yet.
I was gonna say, that's old.
No,
Okay.
and I mean, it's still pretty operational other than, I mean, anything can break down, even new equipment can break down.
Right.
Sometimes the new equipment can even be more of a nightmare.
It's
but-
got its rusty spots, and if you're an old person like me, I'd say it's going to take some pains, but it still does the job with what we need to do.
Okay, good.
But
It piles the chips, it piles the snow, it pushes the snow.
maybe some year when we have all kinds of extra money, we'll buy another.
Well, as long as you don't raise my taxes. So, I mean, that's basically all that I had, that I would make any changes on at this time.
Should it be in the CIP?
What is that?
Should it be in the CIP in the future?
Maybe,
Not this year.
No.
Yeah, but at some point.
maybe we can
it should
see
be
how
on
the next year goes with it and
Yeah.
reevaluate and see what our budget looks like
I
next
mean,
year.
it's not a diamond, but it does its job, and
Yeah. Well, and it stays in one spot. It's not like you're running it up and down the road and everything.
not anymore, now that I don't plow the grade school.
Yeah.
Did that come new to the transfer station, or was that a hand-me-down from the
No,
highway?
I've only had that since 16, I think it is.
Okay.
15 or 16, somewhere
So
in
it came
there.
from highway?
I bought it from Beauregard.
It didn't? Oh, okay.
Without, I have some information here. I talked with Waste Management. I guess you people know, Steve told you about my compactor that got, box that got damaged. And I talked to them down there at Waste Management, a man named Matt. And he said what we usually do on something like that is we fix it in-house and then bill the town for the repairs. He said we figure that's just wear and tear on the container.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna start turning. This was the hole, and this was this. Here. Now,
Oh, it snapped right off.
this is what they did here with it.
Now who,
That's, you're looking at it, if you were on, that would be the underneath, and this is it, here. This is
that
where it
container
looks.
looks like it's in pretty bad
Waste
shape.
management.
So is it their
Now, this is
container?
half-inch steel. And as you can see, it's a little bit bent.
Bent, yeah.
Now, is this the town's container? Or
It is the town's container.
But they're thinking that they would.
There it is again on that part of it. Now,
What's going to be the?
this is the opposite side of that, but this is bent. And when you turn this one, this is where they popped all the weld out here.
Yeah.
So Mike pulled it all together. We keep going. That's what it looked like underneath where the piece is missing.
Okay.
This is what it looks like now.
And who fixed it?
Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he did the welding here and straightened this and pulled this back together. But now, on one of these, this one here, that's 1.5 inches. And you can see how that's bent right over sideways. That's why this wheel hooks in the hole here. They ripped this one out. If you turn this around like this piece here goes under it, the I-beam here and stuff. So this was all bent right around sideways.
Okay.
And so what did you say that they told us?
That
They
was
did the damage, and what's the...
And the thing of it is, they said that that's all part of wear and tear. And they repair them and bill the town for doing it.
So they
So I don't know
break
what
it
you
and then
people
build it
want to
down.
do
We pay them
because I
to
have
fix
no.
So they break it, they fix it, and then we pay them to fix it.
Yeah. Because
So we pay them to
it's
break it.
part of wear and
is what you're
tear.
saying.
That looks like it's pretty well hard, please.
Well, I think I mean,
Extra wear. If you want these,
whatever. Is there anything we can really say about it? I mean, are
I
they just
don't
going to tell
know.
us to?
I would think they would have
Pound
something
sand
that
it.
they should.
But we had Mike Davis fix it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have his bill. I contacted him today, but I have no idea what it is. He was out doing his automobile work, his AAA work.
So
And when I spoke with Bob, he said the tractor would be back. Hopefully this weekend he's going to see if he can repair it. Because it's a little more expensive than we want to do. But what it is, they hook on, there's a hook here, they pull it up on, you know what they do.
Yep.
And evidently they twisted it a little bit or something. It's a lot of pressure to tear that stuff apart like that.
I guess.
Yeah.
But it's normal wear and tear.
Well, that's what they tell us.
I think we should send them our bill.
Well, we could.
I have no idea, but
they might
I
just
showed you. I took pictures.
Yeah.
Had my daughter put them on the computer for me, and then printed them up, and thought you might want to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put that in. So that's all I have.
Well, I'd say maybe once we see the bill, we could kind of discuss what we could try to do,
What
but
our
they might
options
just.
are.
We might not get the response we're looking for.
Yeah.
You probably will not, but that's beside the point.
Well, it's something to consider when we do our contract next
Next
year.
time,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They did repair one container for me that they damaged, and
Did they send you a bill for it or not?
nope.
Wait, so they
Okay.
did repair it all
They-
A
once?
different container.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
there's a
But,
precedent there, right?
the guy that was working there then is no longer working there, and he didn't like me after he come up and saw the damage and said a few things to me. I said a few things back.
Fair enough.
And we have it. So now I don't know what they'll do.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's something to consider when we renew our.
I hope to have the bill tomorrow, but I can't guarantee it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
it is what it is. Is there anything else you need?
I think we're.
I have
That's good,
one
thank you,
question.
Glenn.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
About the part-time salary line. Is it 2 employees, 24 hours a week, or how?
2.
2 times 24.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
But 2 different pay rates.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure of the hours.
And we're going to be needing to do some advertising. And,
Yeah, let's look at that early next week.
well, we ought to get started on it soon. I think there's only like 2 or 3 weeks left.
Okay. Do you have a job description? Just use this down.
Transfer station assistant.
So since we probably have a fresh one, it's only, a few months old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's no really description to it.
Yeah.
Stack cardboard, crush aluminum cans,
Yeah.
Show up,
Yeah.
yeah.
show up for work,
Yeah.
shovel snow,
No, that's important.
sweep dirt.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks
Okay.
for coming in tonight.
Thank
See
you.
Glenn. Save the best for last.
Police Department with Chief Littlefield.
Good evening.
Keep breathing as you talk to
What
this
page are we
one.
on?
8.
I didn't bring any pictures. I'm sorry. So, trying to put a budget together is kind of the balance between expectations and reality, more leaning towards reality than expectations. So, but we still have to budget for expectations. First draft of this was quite high. The first draft is more, I don't know which one you're looking at.
I don't either.
What do you mean? It's the.
What I had presented originally.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's right in there. It's 538,993. So it's close.
So-
that's what I sent you this morning.
Ideally, that's where our budget in a perfect world would probably end up if we had full staffing, benefits, etc. The caveat with having like an empty position is you have to oftentimes budget at the max benefit. So they could come in with a family plan, the FSA, so on and so forth. And then sort of like a max rate that you may hire up to.
So, do we want to go down?
So what I've done, I don't know you guys looking at for a number, but I cut a big chunk and got it down to 460, 572.
Wow.
What did you cut?
460, 572.
No. Oh, that.
That's a significant. Let's go
Huge
line by
difference.
line then, and you tell us what you have, because that is not what we have.
So.
Do you have it right there? Can we
I
just
do.
make a copy?
Yeah.
That's easy.
No, I have copies.
Oh.
Awesome thing. Thank you.
And I did email you Keith's.
Okay.
So you went down one officer that.
No, I didn't remove an officer. This is the reality part of it. The line, the full-time salary line reflects my position and the patrolman's position, paid full-time for the full year. What I did to bring budget down was budgeted the third position for 6 months, with the expectation I may not be able to, still having trouble filling that position, and it's just a desert out there for candidates, so. Which means after budget's approved, getting somebody into the process, we can start that process, you know, if we have a viable candidate, we can start that process in the spring, let's say, and then bring them on the books, you know, in June, in 6 months of the year. So really, that's what, you know, so that's what that decrease represents, along with the benefits and other employee related items decreased. So like, I think in the let's see,
Dana, for the admin assistant, is that going from 24 to 28 hours or 28
correct,
to
yeah,
32?
my apologies. Yeah, the admin assistant
Was 24, right?
looking to increase for additional hours, and quite honestly, it's more representative of the hours she works, but doesn't necessarily put in for, and shouldn't be having her work for free, and she wants to be here more and be more help to us and so on and so forth. So she's a kind of a big cog in the wheel for us that just gets a lot of, I don't want to say minimize the work that it is, but it's just a lot of like stuff that would eat up our time. You know, like when she's not there, we get caught up on the phone, and it takes away from either road time or reports or other things that need to get done. So she alleviates a tremendous amount of work off of, you know, us, so we can focus on things that, you know, only we can do.
So it especially makes sense if you're short-staffed already.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you remind me what detail is? I know we talked about this, but that's
Detail
like special.
Is when we're hired by an outside company
Okay.
or vendor to perform
Like Reach the Beach, or?
Right.
Reach the Beach.
So is that-
White Lake State Park was the big one this year. Was the first year we were actually, because of staffing, it was the first year we were actually able to fulfill it. They've been, since 2020, they've been basically having an officer at the entrance of White Lake throughout the summer months, every weekend. So
is that a pass-through number because we get reimbursed?
it is.
But we get reimbursed a partial?
It's that detail rate that we had discussed and increased, so we bill it out at 75. You pay the officer 50 for that detail time, and the town takes the other 25 into general revenue.
But it comes from whatever entity is hiring our officer. Yeah.
I mean, you could always say 0 in that category.
And not have officers doing that?
Well, not necessarily. You would just be in the red all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Because it goes back into the general fund, it doesn't go back into your budget.
Right.
correct.
So.
Right. Okay.
But we listed in police department revenue, I mean, you
Yeah.
can see it,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's in the general.
So I guess, you know, if your budget was like completely tight with no movement, you'd have to have that money to actually pay the officers out of it. So let's see what else. I mean, you can see the notes I have on the side as well. Health insurance, I did it as 2 single and 1 family, and that's again kind of a guesstimate of what potentially we could be looking at.
And Dana, I'm putting $1 in your health insurance buyout stipend,
The buyout, okay.
just so that if you get that, then
Yeah.
otherwise we can't put it on that line.
Well, yeah, and so there's the caveat. You might hire somebody, you know, with the idea that they're going to take a family plan, and they might come in and say, "Oh, I don't need your insurance," and so you're just going to use the
$300 a month.
overspend the buyout,
Right.
you know, line and do it from there. I mean, it'll wash out in the end, but you'll be ahead. Actually.
Should be ahead, yeah.
The part-time is just the sergeants, so just overview, sergeant retired April and went to part-time. She has a max allotment of 1,352 hours that she can work under retirement rules. So she is working, so next year, that works out to be like 26 hours a week.
Okay.
Which isn't great for us. I mean,
No.
this year we, that 1352 was divided up between May and December. So we're a little bit better, hours per week, but next year we're gonna be stretching it a little bit further. I think what you have in your line for FICA, and I emailed you, Keats, about this, I think you had added FICA in based on total salaries, and we don't, full-time police officers don't pay into FICA.
Oh, okay.
We don't get Social Security either, so,
Wait, you don't?
no.
Why? What do you get instead?
Oh,
Our retirement, that's why our retirement
much higher.
compensation is much higher than
Oh,
normal.
it is, okay.
So.
So should I take FICA out?
FICA
That's for
applies
the-
to the part-time
part-
positions.
Part-time,
So,
so
like, even the-
Sergeant Pearlie's?
Correct,
Okay.
which is what I calculate.
It's,
That's the
Yeah.
number you have in there?
Yep.
he's got a
Okay.
note in the column about it too.
Yeah.
So that would include the admin assistant's position and the sergeant. The rest is just kind of a guesstimate about, I projected out where we will be at the end of this year, roughly. And we're gonna have a surplus this year in part because the sergeant moving to part-time freed up some of that retirement money. So that's where you'll see some of that surplus coming back.
And
So is the, oh, sorry.
you have to, if you're gonna ask about this, ask about that because I'm gonna switch topics.
Only, so the 359 is your projection for the end of the year?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And the custodial, I think you told us before, you have to have the custodial done in-house because, instead of having Rick do it as a town building because of confidentiality
Yeah.
stuff around.
Yeah, and it was just more convenient.
Okay.
And it's something that Linda does on the side, prior to her shift starting or whatever. And I just kind of lowered every other line, basically.
So that means you're at 11% increase?
Correct.
Over budget or actual?
Over this year's proposed budget. Or not proposed, but approved budget.
Over 2023's budget, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's a significant difference.
There was the increase, I think I previously discussed in a meeting, a $3,500, or maybe not, $3,500 increase in the dues and subscriptions. We'd enter into a contract, 2-year contract, where $3,500 for each year, with the company that will update all our current, bring our policies current and so I think that's really the best way to go about it. My time is greatly divided, especially with staffing being minimal.
So one thing I'm noticing with different department heads coming in is that some are including a COLA increase, and some are not. And there are different percentages. So like Chief Winfield's got COLA 3% increase, and Fire just had an increase.
They have a 5%, but what they explained, I believe, is that, well, I don't know if that's just on Chief Colcord, but that they have an hours and a COLA increase, so it's not just a straight
Yeah,
COLA.
I'm just saying that we should, we've been trying to decide how best to set the rate for town employees, and I think it would be cleaner, like we'd be looking at more consistent numbers if we did that earlier in the process.
So I applied 3% to all salaries, the only one that didn't is fire.
Okay,
They did their own thing.
okay,
So otherwise it's 3%.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's
So we
already
did
been
do
done?
that, yeah.
Okay,
And that's the number that you guys need to decide to change or leave or whatever.
right,
And it does help to have that number sooner than later when we're
yeah,
making these budgets, because, I mean, if you look at the bottom, I mean, our employee costs are, you know, more than 3/4 out of our budget, you know. So, some, you know, percentage here, there, whatever, greatly changes all that.
well, thanks for taking the time to go through with all of that trimming,
Yeah, that makes a big
that's
difference.
significant.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest, it's not where I'd like to be. I mean, and, you know, I know the economies are challenging and taxes are, you know, up for sure. I mean, it's just, ideally I would like to have more staffing full-time year-round to be more consistent with what we're doing and be able to offer more programming and other opportunities. Instead of always kind of just trying to keep up or whatever. But, you know, we're far below the regional average for officers. I mean, I don't look at other agencies' budgets, but I gotta believe we're well below, you know, any budget in the region. You know, even smaller PDs. So we do our best.
Yeah,
But
well, thanks.
any questions?
I don't have any. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys don't need me?
Go home.
Have dinner.
Have a good night.
Thank you guys.
Dinner's a good idea.
Moving.
Is Linda still waiting to get admitted?
No, she was in, but she must have left.
Oh,
She was in just a second ago.
okay, maybe it dropped, yeah.
Moving on to the groundwater protection ordinance enforcement protocol and compliance officer.
So this is a topic that got put on the agenda, I guess I put it there for you all. Sheldon came in on Friday and was concerned that we don't have an enforcement protocol in place for the new groundwater protection ordinance. This is hopefully a discussion about how best to do that. I'm certainly not, equipped to know how to do that. So I don't know, it seems like the options are, first of all, is it the select board that does that? I'm not really sure what the rules are on that. And is it a consultant that one would hire? Is it a volunteer team made up of people from the planning board and I don't know. Do you hire the code compliance person and have them project manage enforcement? What was in your documents sent earlier was a state sample of what that could look like. That is put together by the state, but it's generic and huge and complicated. Did you look at it?
Yeah.
So
And if we did
somebody
anything,
would-
it would be much simpler than that.
yeah, and somebody has to go through and decide what's relevant to this town and the ordinances we have. So
I'm going to jump right in because I have
Okay.
thoughts. I was talking to Keats about this, and so let me check with you two. My memory of sitting in planning board meetings, sitting in the presentation from the groundwater protection committee, and from the hearing was that, yes, the buck stops with us for compliance, but that the ordinance drafting, the community educating up through election was done by the committee, and then the committee was going to continue their work doing more like compiling of businesses on the groundwater protection zone. I thought that they were also going to come up with like basically this model that we were going to use, and then we were going to get, because they're the experts on groundwater protection, we are not, because they've been steeped in it now for 2 years, and that we were going to get from them essentially something like, you know, when you go to the state site and there's that manual you can download about junkyards, and it's like, this is an appropriate way to drain a vehicle, this is not, and it's got the pictures and all the steps, and then it ends with the checklist that we use when we're licensing junkyards. I was picturing we're going to get that, and then we save it for when we need to get into enforcement mode, or we hire somebody to be in enforcement mode and we give them that document, but that we as lay people were not responsible for creating any information-based tools.
I didn't feel like there was something else that needed to be done. This is
this
is like a new thing.
Yeah.
I thought that my understanding, maybe I made this up in my head, but I thought that the planning board was going to kind of pass along the information as to what. I mean, I knew that we were kind of the enforcers. I'm pretty sure out of process. It's not up to the planning board, but I thought that they were kind of going to recommend what that looks like, or what type of information. Like, are they reaching out to the businesses? I was under the impression that
they are. They have been.
So, I mean, are they gonna? Should they, or maybe at least help us put together some type of what they think it's
we
gonna
can
look
help
like?
them. I think they need to take the lead. I assumed.
That's
I didn't know there was a new thing that needed to be done.
Right.
And if there is a new thing, then I think they're going to do some of that.
And I think they're the ones with the information, and they have the knowledge on it more so. At least compared, I
think we all have that same understanding.
Interpretation.
So I think we should have some representatives of the planning board come to the next meeting and talk about what would this thing look like that they think we need.
Yeah, and maybe there's a conversation even before the next meeting. There's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
I would say there's a fair amount of urgency to sort of figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
And I would posit that the planning board does not agree with the conclusion you've just come to. So that conversation should probably happen sooner than later.
Kind of seems like a them problem.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't realize that they were going to look for this from us, honestly. But we'll figure something out. I would say that maybe. Do you think before next week we should?
Or at least have a conversation with them to get the conversation moving farther than week to week. You know what I mean? If we wait a whole week and we have half an hour, it's just...
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking to see if the RSA gives any guidance about select board.
Good thing we have a planning board representative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your planning board representative is in complete agreement. Like I will say I support the groundwater protection ordinance wholeheartedly, but my understanding through all the steps of the process that I've been privy to, which is several planning board meetings with presentations by the committee, at least one, if not more, select board meeting and the public hearings, was that the groundwater protection ordinance committee, was doing all the heavy lifting. That they were going to become steeped in the understanding, and they were going to create what needed to be created in order to get this thing in motion. And that once that happened, it was our job to do the enforcement.
Because I think the RSA requires that. I'm assuming
because
that's
the RSA does require it. I'm just seeing.
For the enforcement,
Yes.
Same thing with the floodplain.
The question is the in-between. Who
Yes.
designs the enforcement?
Yeah. And I think we'd be happy to work together with them, but I think my assumption is they were doing the heavy lifting.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know enough. I wouldn't know enough about it to do it. Definitely without them. So.
I'm just looking to see if we can even get what the RSA is.
So I think maybe Lan, if you want to convey the views of the board as soon as you can, and
Yeah.
to start the conversation, invite the planning board chairman and others,
Maybe
anybody they want.
Maybe there's some type of work session we
Yeah.
end up having with some members of the planning board or something.
Yeah.
I'm happy to, do that. I wouldn't know without a lot of help.
Yeah.
The first. So.
And if some development of new documentation is required, that could delay implementation of the bylaw. As simple as that. I mean, if we need some new thing, and they thought we were doing it, we never heard about it till today, then...
And it's already almost
Well,
November.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure, we've never heard about it till today, but
What?
I have sent you a memo where it is discussed.
Well,
But-
last
but-
week or so,
but
when we
what
got the
we're
email, that's the first time
saying
I
is that
remember it.
We've been
hold on.
disagreeing with that contention. Well, this is going to take more.
Okay. Well, we can reach out to them anyway, and like I said, maybe it means having some type of work session with them to get this. I think. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So.
When I saw the size of that document from the state, it's like, holy cow, this is not.
And
this
that's
is not too relevant.
That's like the Cadillac of,
Right.
Yeah.
we're obviously, but it
Yeah.
would take somebody weeding through that to sort of figure out what makes sense.
Well, it's probably going to be cleaner
And
to
then
look at
obviously-
surrounding towns and
I mean,
see
yeah.
what they have.
After
Yeah.
putting this together, wouldn't the attorneys or something have to read through it and approve?
Yeah.
Give us their opinion and approval or whatever.
And I think another reason why a conversation with the planning board would be helpful is I think I do recall that Sheldon mentioning to you about around town he sees what he thinks are violations of the subdivision rules and regs, and that I always assume it's the planning board's job to do the enforcement of their regulations, but now it turns out that may not be true. That may be our job, and I didn't even know it was our job. And if we can delegate it back to the planning board, I would make that motion. So we need to look into that, because nobody was even thinking about it, I don't think.
I thought it was, I didn't.
Well, I think
I
the
get the enforcement part of it, like
the
they
sel-
make a recommendation to us and then we enforce it, but I didn't
Yeah.
know we were supposed to be.
I'm
The
not out there
select
looking
board-
at frontages,
The
you know?
select board settles disputes.
Mhm.
Like, we're the arbiter if somebody doesn't like the work or the decisions of the planning board. It bumps up to us.
Yep.
It is not clear in anything I've read in the subdivision regulations that if there's an illegal subdivision going on in town, that we're supposed to hunt
Yeah.
that down and find it.
So I think we need to understand Sheldon's concerns, because
Okay.
certainly if there's if one of their permits isn't properly complied with, then they need to let us know if we need to take some action.
Right.
Yep.
Again, because that's the expert group.
Right.
As the groundwater protection
Right.
committee is the expert group. I mean, this is a good time to share a concern that I said last week, and this is another example of select board members are asked to do so much. Like I've got 9 meetings a month now in my select board roles, and that is not what my impression was when I signed up for it. I'm happy to do the work, and I think it's important work, but you can only add so much on, and when it's mandated, when it's state mandated, like I just don't know, I don't know what the options are other than hiring somebody, which of course puts its own burden on the town. But people don't sign up to be on committees, they don't run for election because it's a lot of complicated work. And people do not want to police their neighbors.
Yep.
And they don't want to have to create the documents to police their neighbors because it's mandated by the state. So that's my mini rant for tonight.
Okay.
I will
Reach out.
I'll reach out.
Okay. And then we can.
And I'll let
talk.
Keats know.
You can let us know via email
Yeah.
what that.
I'll let Keats know and then she can pass it on.
Yep. Okay. So, and then we'll have another discussion on that next week
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
as to what's happening. But I think maybe. I would think that I know that it starts the first of the year, right? Is when
Yep.
That's when it
but
goes into
I mean,
effect.
obviously, like I don't think that necessarily the enforcement has to start the first of the year. I would think that just like maybe the informational, like, you know, I'm sure they're reaching out to the businesses and stuff, but maybe like some type of, I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to do. How many businesses was there? There was a lot.
I forget how many it was. It was a lot more than I thought there were.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't think it can be left up to us unless we're feeling really ambitious this winter to go around to 100 or whatever businesses. And,
Yeah. Well, with a
That's
new ordinance,
So-
like the first phase of enforcement has got to be education.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if somebody's non-compliant based on whatever we come up with for a compliance
Also,
process, then the first step is educating them, and that's a softer start to
Did we end up
a new ordinance.
asking Charlie Townsend about potentially doing
Nope.
This role?
this role?
did
Didn't
not.
we talked
Officially, I
about
don't
it.
We
think
have
we
not.
did. No.
Could we ask him, or could we maybe bring him in,
Mm-hmm.
talk with him?
Sure.
Because I think that I think somebody's going to have to do it.
So that we have one
I don't
compliance
think-
officer
I mean,
handling
ideally,
compliance.
I think it would be him.
That would make more
And
sense.
if he won't, then we would
Go
have
from
to
there.
figure out what that looks like exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could also, if he was willing to do it, could be part of maybe learning about this as we learn about it. Like
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as the putting together something for the enforcement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we have to remember too that his contract for the junkyards was only a 2-month
Yeah.
2-month contract.
So maybe we bring him. Maybe we talk with him next
What's
week.
the end date
Yeah,
on that? Do you know,
They
Keith?
must, I don't know the date, but it's
coming
right about
right up,
now.
right?
Yeah, we're right.
So
about
we
there.
should bring him in and have a conversation with
Yeah.
him too about how the existing work is going.
If he wants to continue.
If he
hopefully.
wants to continue with that and expand his role.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the request for letter of support from culvert modernization proposal, Green Mountain Conservation Group.
Yeah.
So
Here's the thing. I got an email today from. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm sorry, I don't know. The executive director of Green Mountain Conservation Group, and they are asking. They've already asked Richard Roberts. They're reaching out to the Conservation Commission and Planning Board for letters of support. Let me just. You'll get the idea. In this culvert infrastructure modernization program. So I'm going to forward, or Keith, did you already forward his email on to the board?
I did not.
Did I give it to you? Yeah, that's how you printed this. I think that the best thing is for you to, because I don't know anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
I just got this email asking if I would share it. So I think that the best thing is for Keats to forward on his email to the board members, for you to read the email. What we have printed off here is sample letters. They're asking for letters of support for this FEMA program.
Mm-hmm.
And
So is it a FEMA program to get grants to replace culverts?
I did
Essentially?
not look. I
Okay.
skimmed it because it was
Probably
a
is
lot of
that,
writing,
but-
and that's what it is. They're trying to update in all of the Saco watershed, the culverts.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say read it, and then next week we just take a quick vote whether to write a letter of support or not.
Okay.
But it's some information to digest that would be faster if you just read it yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So would you just would you just forward that on to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So what are we? Is that?
That's it. We'll take a vote next week after
Okay.
everybody's read it.
Moving on to old business. We'll start with the transfer station improvement project update.
We had a transfer station improvement committee meeting. Steve and I were there, and we had gotten some revised numbers from Sanborn Head about different options going forward. The current design is well over $2 million, and we have 1.4. Actually, we've spent some of the
1.2.
1.4, so we're down to 1.2 because we've spent on the design itself. So one option was just to build a smaller building and build it higher in the landscape so it's cheaper to build. It doesn't get it down low enough, that was the problem. It's still 1.8 or something. But still, you save $600,000 or whatever. That's a
Good stuff.
nice amount. We do think there's ways to still save more money. So we're looking at various options. The other option from Sanborn Head was to take the existing building, make the office bigger, and then build some kind of pole barn or something next to it. And I don't think anybody likes that idea because the pole barn doesn't get you anything. Another option was take the existing building and make the office much bigger so that it's not just an office, there's workspace in there. And all these there'd be a scale as well, would be, I assume, part of everything. So I think nobody really liked any of the ideas except for option one, which is, yeah, still build a new building, just build it smaller and make it cheaper somehow. So we're still looking at ways to do that. Because unless you have a building that you can put a baler in, then you can't recycle paper or plastic.
What's the size of the current plan for the building?
It was, I think, 70 feet by almost 100, so it's
Okay.
pretty big. And now the new smaller one is 60 by 72. So the building got smaller. A lot of the money, you don't save a lot of money in a building by making it smaller. Because like in your house, so much of the cost is in the foundation and the infrastructure inside of it. So having a smaller house and a bigger house, you still have a furnace, you still have plumbing, etc. So the thing that really saved it was doing less earthwork by building it higher.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
So I think, but little things like, we had poured concrete walls, a Z-wall proposed for the C&D containers. Well, what if that was a block wall? We had leaned towards poured concrete because those walls get pretty beat up by the containers, and that would be more durable. Well, that's true, but if it's considerably cheaper to build a block wall, then maybe we'd go that way. So we're looking at other ways to try to get the cost down. But I mean, everything's on the table. But the committee realizes that we need to make a recommendation to the select board before town meeting. Before town meeting. If somebody wants to submit a new warrant article that might relate to this, then we said, well, we need to finish before warrant articles. So probably by end of January, maybe sooner. I think it's going to be really hard to get it down to the amount of money we have. I personally don't see that happening. Then there'll have to be a conversation about, okay, do we still want to build it and just not equip it now, get the equipment later. It's still not down to the money we have, so we'd need new money through a loan program. The USDA has a loan program. They gave us a $500,000 grant. They have a loan program, so we're going to look into that. But it's possible to say where it's going to go. I just know we need to have, a bathroom and a wash station, built next year. That's our goal, and anything else that we can go with it.
Yeah. Have you, you must have, talked to LRPC about grant availability and grant writing? That's one of the services they provide.
Haven't, not about the transfer station, because we did it all ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a new grant round through Northern Borders Regional Commission, but it's still not clear to me that it's worth the time to do it, because they just don't do transfer stations.
Yeah. It might be worth giving that office a call.
Yep.
And just to see what, if they're willing.
Because they have a solid waste guy who just does solid waste, so it's worth asking.
And they have a, as I said, grant writing is part of their, it's a fee for service thing, but they could maybe at least point in some directions if you wanted to write grants yourselves.
Yeah.
Or find out, maybe it's more efficient to spend a little bit of money to pay them to nail some grants for you.
It's worth asking.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of effort, the members of the committee have gotten pretty good at grant writing. I guess you get only really good at it if you get some, maybe, so maybe we're not that good at it. I think we are certainly good at finding the programs, and unfortunately, you know, the EPA program was the one tailored for transfer stations, and they just wanted a small number of really big projects, and ours was never going to fit that. I think nationwide they funded, you know, a very small number of projects, and probably none of them as small as ours.
Yeah.
So we'll be back at some point.
Yeah. Must be frustrating. Sorry, you guys are. So much work that you put into it.
And I think the committee members are really committed to trying to fulfill the spirit of the warrant article, which spoke specifically to optimizing recycling. And if we can't build a building with a baler in it, then we really don't optimize recycling. That's the trouble. You know, a scale is nice, the bathroom and the wash station is important, that's in the warrant article as well, but how do you optimize recycling if you don't have a building that you couldn't put a baler in? So that's the thing that we're wrestling with.
So with other old business, there's some non-public meeting minutes we're going to unseal. The board had a non-public session on September 12th. We voted to seal the minutes once we came back into public session. The minutes of the public session mistakenly left that vote out. The public minutes were subsequently corrected. I believe the original reason for sealing the minutes no longer applies. And to resolve any questions about whether the minutes were properly sealed, I make a motion that the board unseal the minutes for September 12th, the non-public minutes for September 12th, 2023. The only... Was there different sessions that night?
No,
Okay.
So it was the
that's
morning.
my motion.
Right?
it was 8 a.m., yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. Moving on to the administrator report.
The bank balance is at $2,697,156. I have spent, this week we're starting open enrollment for health insurance. No, the enrollment hasn't started, but I'm working on it this week. And so that was a fair amount of my time. Training Sue, budgeting, preparing you guys. That's about it.
When does Sue start full time? Like full time for
She
her?
starts on November 1st.
Okay, it is November 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she'll have had 4 days of training under her belt. So, you know, Emily will still be training, but
Right.
she's getting there.
Moving on to the signature file. I make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes for October 12th, 2023.
Second. There's only 3 things in the signature file.
That's small.
I make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $287,989.57. $250,000 being the school payment, and $13,979 being waste management. Those were the 2 big ones.
Second.
Oh, those were the only 2. So they would be the 2 big ones because they were the only 2.
So we need separate votes, I think. We didn't vote on the first one.
We didn't?
On select board minutes?
Yeah.
We did? Did I
On
not?
the select board meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Didn't we just
take a
vote on
vote.
those?
Did it?
Was that the one we just voted a second ago?
We didn't? Yeah.
I thought we did.
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought this was a different one.
This is accounts
October
payable.
12th. Okay. Never mind.
Oh.
You did September 12th. I don't know.
Oh, that's why. It's
No,
October
we didn't do
12th.
October.
We didn't vote.
We didn't do the October 12th vote.
Okay, I rescind my
No,
motion.
keep the motion. We just
You
have
have
to
to
do the vote.
vote.
Roll call vote.
You said yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. So did we just do two and one by accident?
Well, because we didn't know, because
And
we did the September 12th
Yes.
here, but then we just did October 12th here.
And then you jumped into account
And then you
payable.
jumped into this before we took the vote. That's all. We're good.
Okay.
so 10, 12 has been
3 yes,
motioned,
0 no.
moved, and voted.
He
Yes.
just got married.
Accounts payable vote. Motion, it's second motioned and seconded, now we need a vote.
Roll call vote.
Doucette, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no.
Okay, we're all caught up now.
That was rough. Cash used to date is $9,294,197.61.
Yikes.
Select board update. Richard.
I think the only thing I was going to mention was the TSIC meeting, which I talked about. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Prentice?
And
I'm looking, I don't know if I actually had anything. Not one thing.
Did you say not one thing?
Not one thing.
Okay.
I mean, many things, but not one thing.
update for me. Talked to Richard this week. Doing a little gearing up for plowing. They were doing some leaf blowing on the sides of the roads, as
Yep.
well as they did some chipping this week in places.
Yeah,
so.
my puppy tried to jump up on the, you know, that little zzz they
Yeah.
drive
Oh,
around.
really?
Yeah, Buddy's like behind and trying to jump up on him. The guy's like, no.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, other than
He
that,
could have ridden all day.
it'll be November before we know it, and we'll have snow in a couple months. Awesome, that's it for me. Is there any public input?
Yes. Ed Camo, Brookfield, off camera. Did I hear correctly that Chief Littlefield added the accreditation software in his budget? Is that true?
Yeah,
Is that the same accreditation software that OSPI has?
it is
Like
the
okay.
IMC reporting software subscription.
That's an excellent addition to the budget. This will save you legal issues if you have them. It tracks everything. It tracks oaths to all certifications. It streamlines everything.
What's it
Very
called
good
again?
choice.
IMC reporting software.
Yes.
It's in the memo next to Dana's dues and subscription line item.
Is it 5,700 roughly then?
He's got other. Oh wait a second. 2,700.
Okay. And that's only a one-time, and then it's an annual. It's a much smaller annual
Okay,
update.
yeah.
That's going national because it's helping deal with the complaints that will protect the officers and complaints that protects the public. It really does streamline and take that
Add some transparency.
adds a lot of transparency.
Oh great, that's good.
My second comment is about the county. I believe you received your county apportionment tax that's due. I've received several phone calls and emails from other towns because they know that I cover the county on a regular basis and have done so since 2011. So people are asking me, what is going on? And there is a lot going on. You have a nursing home that is strapped trying to find nursing staff. You have staff leaving to go to Taylor Home, which is another home in Wolfboro. I believe 4 LNAs left just last week. Our agency costs have jumped from like $450,000 to like $1.6 million. And if that continues, that's going to be a big jump. So that's the major reason why the county taxes have jumped so high. Now, the towns that contacted me asked me if it was a good idea to send a stern, mindful email or correspondence to the county commissioners, just reminding them of your concern that the county taxes are going up a lot. The other issue of the reason why they're going up so high is because of outside agency or outside group funding requests. You have several new funding requests in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have, I believe in 2023, the total was about $420,000 to $470,000 that was given out, which they have a policy which is 2% of the total county budget that they won't go over that cap. Now they've received applications that total 700,000 plus. Now these are good groups. They're trying to deal with a horrible economy, homelessness, drug addiction, everything. But prices are going up. This is going to affect us. And I just thought it'd be a good idea to go to the meetings that I cover and ask you to just send a very considerate, mindful email, just reminding the commissioners that you're watching, that you understand what they're up against, but that you really need to focus on holding the line on the taxes if they can. Everybody's mindful of it, but you're not paying as much as some other towns. Wolfboro is paying a whopping amount of money. Brookfield is paying 169 or 159.
How's it apportioned out, you know? Is it by population?
The DRA looks at the budgets and then they apportion it out. It's a formula the DRA comes up with. So each town pays difference. Brookfield's went up 20%. I'm sure yours went up 20%. I don't know what that number is. Do you happen to know it offhand?
Yeah.
5, 6,
5, you said, yeah.
I just wanted you to know the reason why it's going up so high, and
so it is 556,271, and last year, I'm gonna say we were 485. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it was about that. So we're up 45. 10% would be 48. Yeah, we're up 20%.
now the commissioners also watch these meetings, so you may not have to write an email. That correspondence is powerful. It just puts in their mind that, you know, we're under the gun here. We really need to watch what we're doing, be mindful of what we're giving out. And it's a hard job because you have groups that are, you know, struggling. I mean, you heard the homeless issue, people living in the woods, you have all these issues, and they have to make a really hard decision. And then the delegation all should be hearing from you also.
Right.
You know, I believe Mark McConkey, I don't know, do you have 2 reps or just one? Just Mark McConkey?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you just have 1 rep or 2 reps in this area?
I don't know the answer to that.
We have 2.
You have
Yeah,
2.
we have 2.
So, you have Mike Constable, I think his name is. The delegation also should hear that you're concerned about your taxes, because they have to vote on the budget. The commissioners are going to compile the budget, then they're going to send it to the delegation. And on occasion, some delegation members want to keep giving more money out. And I'll say it, for votes. And they need to understand that we all can't do this. It's getting out of hand, and they just need to have it in their mind that you're watching and you're
Yep. The number that jumped even more significantly for us is the state
the school.
state education tax warrant. I mean, it went from, I think it was subsidized last year somehow by the state, but it went from around 500,000 to 789,000.
Well, that's because adequacy is going away. That adequacy amount is going to slowly disappear, and it's going to cause that to go up.
Well, this year we got, we and Laconia got a significant amount of adequacy funding for 2024.
But it is scheduled to
But it's
keep
winding
increasing
down.
and then go
Yeah.
away.
So why would this jump now, though?
Because they just gave away all that money for adequacy, and
Yeah,
you know, there's only this much money, and you can call it what you want, and you have to
I'm
get
not
it back
the
somewhere
person to
else.
answer that question, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's important to just tell your elected officials that are working on the county budget
Yeah.
that they need to understand you're watching what they're doing.
Well,
And it's a
It'll be a
tough job
tough task.
for everybody, so.
And it's your
Thank you.
understanding that a big part of the increase relates to the nursing home.
That's the huge part. And I don't know how they're going to solve this, because nationally you can't find nursing staff.
Right.
And you remember they had a COVID outbreak, and then CMS, Center for Medicaid Services, came in and fined the county. It was originally supposed to be $169,000, but they didn't appeal it, so it wound up being $101,000. Then I found out the feds take away your learning accreditation if you have a fine like that. So for the past year, they weren't able to train in the nursing home. That was another reason. I said, that doesn't make any sense. We have such a shortage now. And then they had released the assistant DON that was responsible for the infection control for budgetary reasons. that was stated. So it's very interesting that's why the county isn't something you should just ignore. And they work very hard, but they just need to know you're watching. And of course, you can read all my notes on my website, so you'll know exactly what's going on in 30 seconds. So thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Is there any other public input? Hearing no more public input. Motion to adjourn.
Good night, Linda. Thanks for being here.
7:56.
Are we meeting next week?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
We didn't have that conversation.
No, but next week's still October. We said we were meeting in every
Yeah.
Thursday in
No, but
October.
we were gonna have the budget process conversation, but we'll do it next week.
Oh
instead.
shoot, we didn't have the budget process conversation.
I see what you're saying.
Because we moved it to the end of the agenda
Right.
and then we forgot.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
my
do it
bad.
next week.
We can
Yeah,
have it next week, but so we are meeting next week.
We're
Yes.
meeting next
Yeah.
week anyway.
And I'll be, yeah, okay.
I didn't shut it off. Thank you.
Not to continue the meeting.